Hey guys, how you doing? I'm the Most Watches. Today I have a special video for you. Today it's top 5. It's 5 crazy fan theories that make total sense. This is no top 5 about anything.
It's hard to run a tight ship when you have really.
I am so sorry about that.
Thankfully, there's space-saving stackable containers from Ziploc because life needs Ziploc. S.C. Johnson.
Anyway, this isn't theories about anything in specific. It's just crazy theories that make a lot of sense. So, theory number 1. Vault Boy isn't giving a thumbs up. He's checking whether or not he's about to die. Now, I will admit, I don't know what Vault Boy is. If you do, please tell me. But anyway, the chipper cheery mascot of the Fallout series has always been Vault Boy, the blonde-haired, bright-smiled lad, giving a big thumbs up and a delightful wink, in stark contrast to the horrible post-nuclear war dystopian future the game plops you in. But why exactly is he giving you a thumbs up? And is there an explanation for what he's doing that makes more sense than a jokey contrast between retro optimism versus current misery? As you can probably tell from the tone of this article, there totally is. There's an old rule in nuclear bomb safety instructions that says, if you see a nuclear explosion on the horizon, stick out your thumb at arm's length. If your thumb covers up the explosion completely, you're at a safe distance from the explosion. If your thumb does not cover the explosion, run like hell. Realistically, if you see a nuclear explosion, run like hell no matter what. But because, holy, there's a nuclear explosion over there. But back to the matter at hand, yes, that is totally what Vault Boy is doing. He's not winking, he has to shift his left eye closed so that he can accurately judge what's behind his thumb. And there's even light shining at him from the right angle. And he's smiling because he knows he's seconds away from death and has gone mad with despair. War never changes, but your perception of video game mascots sure does. Oh my gosh, there is light. Well, Vault Boy's dying. Spock is a descendant of Sherlock Holmes. This one could very well make sense. Spock, known to modern audiences as Sylar but with his hair cut by a 10-year-old, is like most Vulcans, a pretty cold, calculating dude, with just a bit of humanity that shines through every now and then. Sounds similar to any famous fictional British detectives you know? Well, if you read the title of this item, you're probably way ahead of me here. It's Sherlock Holmes, but the similarities between the two go much deeper than their obvious personality parallels. And the fact that Spock and Sherlock portray Benedict Cumberbatch faced off in Star Trek Into Canis. And Into Darkness. Oh, Canis? Into Canis. That's not what it's called. In Star Trek, that's a 6. The undiscovered country known as trying to make up for the final frontier, Frontier, which was the worst until Airbud Into Darkness came out. Includes a very telling line. Spock says, "An ancestor of mine maintained that when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth." The quote is famously attributed to Sherlock Holmes. He is the opium pipe and inspiration for TV's House, which would make Spock his descendant. Of course, Sherlock Holmes isn't actually real, so the possibilities are either Star Trek takes place in Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes universe, or Spock was referring to Arthur Conan Doyle as the ancestor, which would probably make more sense, but would be a shame that he didn't inherit those dreamy cheekbones. Galadriel gave Gimli 3 hairs when he asked her only one, despite the most powerful elf of all time. What? Upon leaving the Elf Treehouse Fun Zone, each member of the Fellowship of the Ring gets a parting gift from Galadriel, except Gandalf, who was too busy plummet fighting a Balrog at the time. They get some bread, some belts, and a few other odds and ends, but Gimli, of all things, gets 3 strands of hair, He was so struck by Galadriel's beauty, apparently Frodo didn't tell him about Galadriel's creepy demonic moment, I don't want to know, that all he wanted was a single strand of hair. He didn't say where he wanted the hair from, to be fair, so there's still room for it to have been a real creepy thing. But why 3 exactly? Turns out there's a reason, just not in Lord of the Rings. In Tolkien's The Silmarillion, blah, 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 there's someone called Fëanor. Fëanor is a huge piece of... but he managed quite a few extraordinary feats. He may or may not have forged a palantir, created the written language of Tengwar, and created the I'm not even going to try. Some fancy gems that are obviously pretty important to Nope. But one thing he never was able to get was a hair from Galadriel, since she knew he was a... He even asked her, you guessed it, 3 times. Okay then. So when Gimli, son of groin injury, what? This is correct. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Huh? Groin injury? Okay, whatever. Made the same request. She saw he was pure of heart and valiant. Basically an opposite Fëanor. What kind of name is that? And despite the fact that the dwarfs and elf folk don't get along, she gave him what she never gave one of the most powerful elves of all time. Some hair. Although it's a good thing she didn't know about Gimli stealing some of her pennies right before. What? That was weird. And confusing, actually. We won't have hoverboards by 2015, despite what we saw in Back to the Future Part 2 because of time travel. Yes, we will! That's a lie. In September of this year, we're having hoverboards, man. Because that is the year. Mark your calendars. September. I don't know exactly which date, but mark them. Find out the date and have a party. My sister is. One of the most memorable parts of the MILF incest blockbuster. What? Back to the Future trilogy is Marty McFly, Calvin Klein, Clint Eastwood's discovery and use of a hoverboard, aka a skateboard that hovers. While not all technology has advanced quite so much, fax machine for fire and explorer employees, teen transportation technology has clearly made leaps and bounds. And back when Part 2 was released, science had 30 years to deliver on this promise. Then they haven't. But why? Because dummy, time travel. When this movie was released, the skateboard has been around for 20 or so years. While the origins of the modern skateboard are a little fuzzy, most can agree that it was in the 60s that they really started being manufactured the way we know them today. When Marty's in the 1950s, some kids are using some very proto skateboards that are essentially boxes with wheels. That was not a skateboard, that was a scooter. I remember that. Marty knocks off all the box stuff until it's just a lean and mean skateboard. So Marty not only invented rock and roll, but he invented the modern skateboard a solid decade before it would have been around. Hipster. Therefore, skateboard science was about a decade ahead in the Marty McFly tricks. His parents... Oh. What? His parents in the bonding time? Whatever. Which means we, at a minimum, shouldn't expect hoverboards until 2025. No! A decade later than expected. Although it might take even longer than that, since scientists in our world are also missing out on another key factor. Time travel. I'm reading this, okay? Also, Libyan terrorists are a lot looser with their uranium selling tactics in the verse. That's what it says. It seriously says BTTF. Animal Crossing is about being inducted into a cult. That's what we're going with. Animal Crossing begins like this. You slowly awaken, seeing a weird cat in front of you in a dark room, and are informed you were going somewhere. Then, boom, you're on a train. It was a bus with no one else on it. That has one stop, a strange town you've never been to before. In Animal Crossing Wild World, there's a similar situation, except for you're mysteriously in a taxi being driven by Captain. Taxi? Okay. Who belongs to a species of creatures from Japanese folklore, Kappa, known for mischief. Oh, I'm thinking of Tanuki, never mind. They pull pranks, but they also drown people, commit sexual assault, and kidnap children. Happiness and joy. He does the same thing in City Folk, but he's driving a bus. Oh, that's one where he's driving a bus. Oh, that's one I have. That's right. Sorry. My bad. And finally, in Animal Crossing New Leaf, you awake on a train. Again. With Rover sitting across from you. When you reach the town, you are told that somehow you've been elected mayor. What? Despite the fact you couldn't have been on the ballot and no one else has ever heard of you before. But why would they tell you that you're the mayor? So you feel important. And so you won't leave. That about sums up. In all the games, you are set up with a miserable little empty hovel for a home, and quickly find yourself deeply in debt to Tom Nook. Oh yeah. In some of the games, you work for him to get rid of the debt, only finding yourself owing him more and more as your home grows. You cannot leave the town, except to go to other nearly identical towns close by. And in case you thought you could get away with anything, there's a maniacal mole watching your clock to make sure you don't attempt to modify anything. Oh yeah, that mole. And hell, there's more. You get occasional letters supposedly written by your mom, despite the fact that she couldn't have known where you were going when you left, or were taken. These are to trick you into thinking your family is happy for you, and most importantly, not searching for you. You are the only human in this town. Everyone else is bizarre, Islander Dr. Moreau-style, anthropomorphic animals who are not allowed to attack you for any reason, even if you attack them. That is not true, because I remember in City Folk, you can have other people. You can have up to 4 save files. Actually, I think 5. Yeah, 5. So, there are other people. Get out. The museum is completely 100% empty when you arrive in the town. How can this be? How can a museum operate with no existence? They sell coffee. Because it's up to you to find things. And wouldn't you know it, there are new fossils to be found each day. Wait, why are there a limited number of fossils appearing in the town each day, buried only inches underground? Because someone's putting them there every night. And marking them so they'll be easy for you to find. They want you to feel like you are contributing something incredible to this town. So you won't even want to leave. That could be true. I mean, they were off a little bit of the facts. But anyway, so that's 5. I didn't count them off. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But anyway, that was my top 5. I have a confession to make. I didn't come up with that. I didn't make that list. I got I wasn't prepared for you guys. I'm sorry. You know what? I've forgotten something very, very terrible. Took time for it. Oh gosh. Okay, I better make this quick. I'm sorry that I haven't been recording recently. I'm very sorry, guys. I haven't seen you guys in 3 weeks. Like 2 Fridays ago, it was finals week, and I was under a lot of stress. I'm sorry, guys. Like, yeah, I was studying, and I just couldn't find time. I'm sorry. And last week I was on vacation with my family. I'm really sorry I haven't been recording. This is just I'm back. I'm only back. Okay? I'm the back sausage. I'm the sausage who's back. I'm the moldy sausage. Back in Return of the Sausage. Moldy Sausage 2, Return of the Sausage. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'll try not to let it happen again. But if I'm not able to record this summer, you gotta understand that I'm a Boy Scout, and I have a lot of Boy Scout camps. I'm going to 4 different Boy Scout camps. Like, so, and I won't be able to record a lot. I'm sorry. Just hang in there, guys. All few of you. And we're going to do something special. Fun fact of the day. Did you know that you probably knew that there were two types of rhinoceroses? There's the one-horned and the two-horned. But did you know that they have some very strange names? So, the two-horned rhinoceros is scientifically known as the bicornus. But the one-horned rhinoceros is scientifically known as the rhinoceros unicornus, or the unicorn. So, fun fact of the day, rhinos are unicorns. Moldy sausage, out. I'll see you all some other time. Goodbye.